Why is the weather outside still frightful? This is definitely not delightful.
March is coming in like a lion, baby.
Because it's snowing here on March the 5th, 2025, outside the Sports Frenzy studios.
You know, I would rather have the little bit we've got here than the blizzards to the north and the tornadoes and thunderstorms and flooding to the south and east of us.
I know. But it's been that kind of a week. I've already vented on my brother from another mother, the conquistador, Dave Heights.
That's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And he's definitely got to be sick and tired of me bitching and pissing and moaning. I get one contact with the outside world every week, and it's him.
And I bear the brunt of it, people.
Just like the early March snowstorms we're getting right now.
The maestro is angry that day, my friends.
I like that. I definitely like that. But you know what time it is. It is time for your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary show. Big in Vietnam, by the way.
That's right. Hello to all of you out there over in Vietnam. Thank you for tuning in.
And I did actually look at our demographics. Germany seems to like us a little bit, too.
All right.
So we'll be more than happy to come over and have a couple steins with you.
Absolutely.
If we ever make money off of this to be able to afford the airfare. I need to get a passport. But that's a story for another day. For now, it is all about sports, and activity in the NFL is ramping up.
Yep, free agency begins next week. The legal tampering period starts Monday the 10th, with official signings able to happen on Wednesday the 12th.
So, what we're seeing now, teams waited till the last minute to make all these adjustments. We've still got about 4 or 5 teams that are going to have to get under the cap. New Orleans, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, they're going to restructure everything again. They've been in cap hell for the last, decade plus?
Because they keep pushing the money. And we're going to talk about that when it comes to America's team in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But you do have 4 or 5 teams that are going to have to get under the cap threshold by next week, because that is the start of the new league year, is when you can start signing free agents. So let us run through real quick all that's happened in the last couple days. And then, of course, Dave and I will focus in on the Bears and the things that matter the most in this whole mess.
The biggest news in the last week: Jimmy Johnson retires from Fox Sports as a broadcaster.
I mean, you know how much I love Jimmy.
It was coming. He's been thinking about this for the last couple years. He's been reining back his participation.
There were people that were reading into the Super Bowl and some things he said during, the big, long pre-show festivities that were hinting strongly at this coming.
Yeah.
So I don't think it comes as a shock, but I'm surprised he stuck with it as long as he did. Because I thought when he was done with coaching, I thought that was it. Everybody always talked about how he wanted to live the easy, sunny life in Florida.
On his boat.
But he kept taking that paycheck from Fox Sports, and it was a great chemistry among those guys.
Yeah. Oh, that was phenomenal, the way they all worked together.
Yep. So, yes, we will miss Jimmy, and I just hope he has many more years left ahead of him to enjoy his official, final retirement.
Yep.
Because I swear to God, if I hear he passes away in 6 months,
it's all over.
I'm done. I am done with this crap. Tired of hearing about people dropping dead at their desks. I'm tired of it. Enjoy your lives, people. Enjoy your lives, because you only get one trip around this big blue marble. All right, so here we go. Salary cap, locked in. We talked about the general range it was going to be in last week. Now it is officially locked in at $279.2 million. That is an increase from last year of $23.8 million, and that is, I think, what exacerbated a lot of this activity we've seen over the last 36 hours, let's say.
Yeah. That's the impetus behind everything.
So let's talk about some of the things that happen involving teams not named the Chicago Bears. So only 2 franchise tags were issued. One of them, of course, was to a guy we would have liked to have, but as you pointed out, would have been very expensive, and that is Kansas City Chiefs offensive guard Trey Smith.
Yes.
He gets tagged, as does Cincinnati Bengals receiver T. Higgins for the 2nd year in a row.
Whew.
And I am still waiting to see how the Bengals are going to pull this off.
Yeah, can they restructure enough?
Well, Burrow's going to have to.
Burrow has to restructure because you have to pay Higgins and you have to pay Chase.
And they want to pay Hendrickson, too.
And Hendrickson. You've got 3 guys that need to be paid, and they all want top dollar. Sorry, guys, not everybody can get top dollar if you want to win.
Now, the Eagles working their salary cap magic. They extend Saquon Barkley for 2 years, $41.2 million, $36 million of that guaranteed. But, of course, that is extending his current deal, so that won't hit the books yet, even though the $20+ million average for this extension is the highest ever for a running back. Then they, of course, lock up. His name's Zach Bond, so I kind of combined Zach and Lock. They lock up Zach Bond, linebacker, for 3 years, $51 million. That just came down today.
Yep.
And again, the Eagles are doing this smarter and better than anybody and everybody else.
Their front office knows what the hell they're doing.
Now, they don't have a lot of wiggle room left, and they've still got a couple free agents out there, but I have a sense they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Unlike the Dallas Cowboys, talking about teams that are pushing the debt back, pushing it back, and pushing it back. Somehow, over the last couple days, by restructuring the massive deals for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys have freed up, wait for it, kids, $56.6 million in cap space.
Predominantly because Dak gets $45+ million as a signing bonus. They converted it.
Yeah, they converted it to a signing bonus. But when you... I had to look at the cap ramifications down the road. And they're just pushing... Again, there's a difference between what they're paying the player and what's going to hit the books in terms of the NFL and the salary cap number.
Yes.
They are pushing this down the road, is what they're doing.
They're creating a bigger problem for themselves in a decade further on.
Not even a decade, like 4 years.
4 years?
I think in 4 years, I saw it today. Spot Track had it updated. I was burning up Spot Track today with all these transactions, wanting to see how these teams were making this work. Our team included, coming up in a minute. But yeah, Dak Prescott will have a hit of somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 million in about 4 years, which is what they were trying to avoid this year.
Yeah.
Ugh. So again, they're just pushing it down the road.
Yep. And they still have to sign Micah Parsons.
Yep.
Now, to his credit, I have to applaud him for coming out and saying, I don't have to be the highest paid player at my position. Bravo! Somebody who gets it. We need more Micah Parsons.
Well, I'll tell you who's not Micah Parsons, and that's Max Crosby.
Good Lord.
Max Crosby of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Las Vegas does not have a great roster.
They do not.
So you have got to hold on to the few superstars you've got. So Max Crosby, arguably number one on that list, maybe along with Brock Bowers. Max Crosby gets a 3-year, $106.5 million extension.
The highest paid non-quarterback in the league.
And the Bengals going, God fucking damn it! God damn it! We just promised Jamar Chase we were going to make him the highest paid non-quarterback, and you just fucked us over!
Son of a bitch!
Yeah, Max Crosby's extension, $91.5 million guaranteed, will take him through the 2029-2030 season. $35.5 million average for that extension, and as you mentioned, the most for a non-quarterback, including these diva receivers. So yes, now
God.
The Bengals. God, no, get the deal done. You drag your feet, and the cost goes up. It's not coming down.
No, unfortunately.
So here's the deal, Cincinnati. You're notoriously cheap.
Shit or get off the pot.
If you're going to make these bold proclamations,
then act on them quickly.
Because now you just probably cost yourself another, at minimum, $4 to $5 million. Now that Max Crosby has set the new bar.
Yeah.
So Jamar Chase is going to have
Raiders.
to get. Jamar Chase is going to have to get at least $36 million a year.
Damn Raiders.
There's that Tom Brady for you.
No, that's an idiot owner in Mark Davis. You got two major idiot owners. One in Las Vegas and one in Dallas.
I would say there's probably another 3 or 4 out there.
There are, but those are the poster children for stupidity.
Yep. Matthew Stafford. Boy, did they get played. Did the Giants get played? Did the Raiders get played? Did the Rams get played? Matthew Stafford, his wife is out there. We talked about this on her stupid podcast. We've been disrespected.
We went out. We won. Yeah.
And then what happens? They figure it all out, and they still have not disclosed the terms of this deal.
No.
The financial terms of Matthew Stafford staying with the Rams have not been disclosed. So, be very interesting to see what happens. I believe they're going to have to by the time the new league year opens.
Oh, yeah. Everything has to be out there by next Wednesday.
But yeah, it would have been stupid for him to leave, and it would have been stupid for them to let him go, because they don't have any other option.
No. What? Are they going to bring in Rodgers? No. McVay will not tolerate that.
I am so fucking sick and tired of the soap opera again. How many years do we have to put up with Aaron Rodgers, and where's he going to go? Ooh, what's he got left in the tank? Ooh, is he going to be able to lead a team to the playoffs?
He's washed up. He's done.
And
you've seen that in New York.
You still hear 3 or 4 different teams, 3 or 4 different scenarios where he's going to go and he's going to play. And I'm like, no. And they go, well, you got to look at his stats from last year. They were garbage time stats.
Yeah.
The Jets were down 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter decided to start throwing, 2-3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, when the defense was playing prevent.
Yeah, to make the game look close. No, I'm sorry.
He's
Aaron
garbage.
Rodgers, anybody who takes Aaron Rodgers is asking for mediocrity at best. You're not making the playoffs. You are not making the playoffs. I guarantee you that. And now I'm interested to get your thoughts on this, Dave, because you and I have talked about this particular player for the last couple years. Deebo Samuel, finally, after a couple years of him bitching and pissing and moaning, trade me. You don't use me enough. You don't use me right.
You're not on the field enough.
Deebo Samuel gets traded to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. Now, part of the reason why the price was so, let's say, cheap was because the Commanders are taking on his entire salary. You and I think, are on the same page with Deebo Samuel. I think he's overrated, injury prone. I think the 49ers are going to be fine.
Yeah, they're going to be all right without him because they don't have to deal with his attitude. They don't have to deal with him taking plays off, which he obviously would do, or the injuries where you can't count on him to be around.
And you look at their receiving core, and they're fine. I think their problem is another fragile player, and that's Christian McCaffrey. If he can play, then they're a much better team. They're a playoff team. But you've got Brandon Ayuk will come back. You've got Jawan Jennings. I think he established himself as a solid number 2.
Yes.
You've got Ricky Pearsall coming back after getting shot.
Yeah.
Showing some flashes. They will be fine without Deebo.
There's enough there.
Now, on the flip side, do you go freaky, nutsy, cuckoo if you're a fan of Washington? Say, oh, look at we gave Jaden Daniels a weapon.
Who might be there half the time.
And you had a great environment last year with the Commanders.
The chemistry was really good. What is Deebo going to do to it?
And I just wonder if Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels, with their demeanors, can rein in Deebo Samuel the first time he goes crazy and gets mad. Because remember last year, he tried to punch a kicker?
Yeah, because he's a loose cannon.
And then he's not going to be the number 1 receiver because that's Terry McLaurin.
Rightly so.
So
again, Deebo's not your number 1 option.
I think Deebo Samuel will test the resolve of this team. And I could see the Commanders taking a step back.
Yeah, it would.
Not just because of him, but he will factor into it. The Combine, there wasn't much to talk about. I think this was the Combine out of the past 10 years, let's go back, that had the least buzz because now we're getting to the point where these players go, nope, not going to do it. Going to do my own pro day. I'm going to dictate the terms. The NFL is not.
Yeah. Thanks, Christian McCaffrey.
So the only thing to come out of the Combine of significance was one of the top picks, Penn State's defensive end, Abdul Carter, had a stress reaction in his foot, but we're hearing that doctors are not recommending surgery. And they say he should be fine.
Yep.
So he's still projected as a top 3 pick in the draft. But now you've got all the rumors.
Oh, but
the
what
Giants,
what if?
Well, you got the Giants now talking about trading up for the number 1 pick. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's going to be...
Draft night could be interesting.
It's going to be Tennessee. It's going to be the Giants or the Raiders drafting at number 1. And they are going to take...
Cam Ward.
Goddamn Skippy they are. And they'd be stupid not to. Sorry. I like Abdul Carter, but the foot thing worries me. And I will say, I will commit football blasphemy right now. Okay? Travis Hunter, no. He is not a generational talent, and I will tell you why. Because he can't play both sides in the NFL. It's a given. He'll have to come in once in a while, maybe. They'll bring him in
occasionally.
They'll bring him in as a cornerback. That's
in a high-risk situation.
No. He will play cornerback.
I think he'll play corner and maybe occasionally slide in at wideout?
Yes, is what I'm hearing. Is that really warranting a top 3 pick?
No.
We're not taking into account the fact that his little stunt that won him the Heisman, and I'm sorry, stunt is probably mean. Again, I'm having a bad week.
He's done that his entire college career.
But he's not going to be able to pull it off, and he's not Chuck Bednarik. You know, we're not going old school. We're not going back to the 50s and 60s here.
No, everything is too specialized these days. You can get away with it in college, but not at the pro level.
Yep. So, if I'm wrong, then we're gonna witness something unbelievably special. But I don't think I'm wrong. I think he is going to be a one-trick pony with an occasional jaunt over to the other side of the ball. What I'm hearing is he will put himself in as a cornerback with an occasional...
With wide receiver potential.
Right. But he's not playing...
No, and he is...
every down on both sides of the ball.
He is by far a better corner than he is wide receiver.
So that's why I'm saying Cam Ward. Cam Ward, number one. And I think momentum will build once we get to the end of April in the draft. I think it's just going to be who's going to jump up to number one to take him.
Yeah.
And I think Tennessee is being stupid if they think that bailing on picking him, trying to pull a Chicago Bears, let's say, thinking you're going to get Arch Manning. And again, who knows how good Arch Manning is?
Yeah, we don't know. You're willing to risk it on a name.
And the best comp I have heard for Cam Ward is Steve McNair. Wouldn't it be fitting for Cam Ward to go to the Titans?
Yeah, it would.
You're going to tell me Mr. Mayonnaise is your future?
Yeah,
we've seen enough of Mr. Hellman's, okay?
He needs to be a backup.
The Seattle Seahawks. They want to talk about an extension with Geno Smith, but here's the problem. If I'm Geno Smith, right now I'm going, why?
Well, why? I'm not going to have anybody to... I'm going to have one receiver to throw to?
Yeah.
You just cut Tyler Lockett. Now, Metcalf wants to be traded.
Yep, DK Metcalf now wants out. And he's another head case.
Yes, he is. So, do you really want that? And what's he going to want to extend?
All right, so let us move on. I have kept Dave waiting long enough. It is time to discuss our Chicago Bears and the bold moves they have made here over the last few days to solidify their offensive line.
They kind of took care of the interior, didn't they?
Yeah. Now, you and our unofficial ninth member, Jamie, you take a tone with me sometimes. I can read through the text and see the tone, hear the tone, feel the tone. And you didn't like the fact that I was a little...
Jonah Jackson's fine. It's going to be all right.
Yes, the Bears, the first move they made, they trade a 6th-round pick to the Rams for guard Jonah Jackson. The positives, 28 years old.
He's played under Ben Johnson's offensive system.
Right. I just thought that $17.5 million right away, eating up over 20% of your available cap, was a little much, a little quick.
But how much were you going to have to commit to Trey Smith?
But you're only comparing it to... I'm not just going to focus on Trey Smith. Okay? There are other guys out there.
I know, but if you're looking at what everybody's getting paid, that's not horrible.
Well, that's where they redeem themselves, is with their second move. Because their second move, arguably, they get a better lineman for less.
Yes. All-pro guard Joe Thuney, they get from the Chiefs for a 2026 4th-rounder.
Now, yes, Tooney's only got 1 year left for $16 million, but $16 million is a bargain for him.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. This is what we got to look at with Tooney. The Chiefs asked him to move from guard to tackle last year. And while it was admirable and everybody, commended him for it, you look at that Super Bowl.
He is not a tackle.
And you go, let's, like you were saying, let's focus on the interior.
Yeah.
So let's look at 2 guards. We've got our 2 guards. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, that's how you have to look
In
at
an
it.
emergency, he can
Shift out if he has to.
if he has to. But for $16 million, I'm okay with that. Combined, the money with these 2 doesn't bother me. So I'm okay now. I've come down off the ledge now.
All right.
But we're going to have to lock these guys up.
You're going to have to get them for a couple of years. Now, you have to draft a couple of linemen to learn from these 2 veterans.
Well, supposedly we should be, with the 10th pick, in line to get a good young tackle.
Yes, which we have to have.
And I told you, I'm hearing ESPN's reporting, rumors are out of Hallis Hall that a center will definitely be on the agenda early next week when free agency starts.
Yeah. What was it? What's his name out of Atlanta is kind of the target.
And I'm fine with that. The Thuney deal made the Jackson deal more palatable to me. Because Thuney, I would say, he's a guy who I would expect to make mid-20s.
Yeah.
Given his resume. Now, this is the last year of his deal.
So you're going to have to give him a little bit. But he's older. How much has he got left in the tank?
I would hope that they could tack on 2 years, maybe 3 at most. I wouldn't go any more than that.
No.
Now, Jonah Jackson, again, being only 28, he's got 2 years left on his deal.
This is a prove-it year because he's coming off of an injury where he really didn't get to play this last season for the Rams, which is why they were willing to let him go.
The good thing is the Bears are addressing their glaring needs quickly and efficiently and giving up next to nothing.
Yeah, late round picks, beautiful.
Yeah, I have no problem with the picks they've given up. I've just been looking, as I said, burning up Spot Track, looking at the cap number moving down, and I'm getting a little concerned because I just want to have enough money. God, I'm beginning to sound like the Cubs. Want to have enough money left over to address other needs. It's great. We're solidifying the offensive line.
But you still needed defensive linemen on the interior, and you need another edge rusher opposite Sweat.
Right. And
now maybe you can address that in the draft.
And an interesting mock draft I read, which you won't like. No, it's not Ashton Jaunty. He'll be gone before 10. But second round, the second best running back, this kid out of North Carolina, I believe, they have going to the Bears.
Intriguing.
So, I'm telling you.
What about the kid out of Arizona? Where's he projected?
Scatterboo?
Yeah.
Scatterboo, nobody is giving him the time of day.
Why?
The kid's got heart.
He's a beast.
Yeah, they've got him, I think, listed as the 4th or 5th best running back available for the draft.
He is a beast.
Because he doesn't have the speed.
Thunder and lightning.
I would love to have him. If you could get him in the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah, you jump on it.
Yeah. I told you. I told you about Cam Scatterboo. I told you, watch this kid once we get to the playoffs. He is
a beast.
He is old school. He is football personified. This is a kid Dick Butkus would have loved.
Yeah.
All right. Moving away now, of course, next week, oh my God. Next week's
going to be crazy NFL.
Yeah, if you think we're talking a lot about stuff going on right now, wait till next week. One final thing before we move on. Well, let's say 2 things. Hawkeye technology, not MASH.
That would have been radar anyway.
Hawkeye technology will be used to measure the first downs starting this coming season, the 25-26 season. So the chain gang is really only going to be ornamental.
Yeah, they're there in an emergency situation in case the power goes out. Technology, they said. It's great, they said.
Yeah, I think you and I are, again, simpatico on technology. Even though you think I don't handle
when it works,
technological failures as well as I should.
When it works, it's fantastic.
And good news coming out of Tampa Bay. Thank God. Thank God the entire mentality of this country has turned around over the last couple months. Jon Gruden is being reinstated to the Buccaneers Ring of Honor.
It's about frickin' time. Good God.
All its stupid email bullshit that still got him blacklisted thanks to Roger Goodell. At least the Glazers, the Buccaneers, are smart enough to say enough's enough.
He belongs in the ring. Period. End of conversation.
So they will put him back in the Buccaneers Ring of Honor. Thank fucking God. Now the next step, Chucky needs to be coaching next year. If Roger Goodell cares about what's good for the league, Jon Gruden on a sideline is good for the league.
It's very good for the league.
Oh, I don't know if this is good for the league or not, but Travis Kelce's coming back.
Who cares?
Tay-Tay does.
Whatever.
All right, let us move on to college football for just a moment. Only one story to really address here, but it's a big one. The ACC, Clemson and Florida State, have reached a settlement on that lawsuit.
Letting the inmates run the asylum.
So the two big takeaways from this are that the exit penalties have been reduced. So it is not going to be prohibitive for a team to jump ship
to another conference
down the road. The exit penalties will slowly decrease over the next approximately decade, let's say. Maybe 8 years. The other part of this that is going to change, and this seems a little bit more fair to me, is they're going to a 60-40 model distributing television revenue, which means that
more money for the teams that have the higher ratings.
Right. 60% of the TV revenue will be split based on the ratings.
Yep.
So Miami, Clemson,
Florida State
will probably get the lion's share of the money, where Virginia,
Rutgers.
Yeah, well,
Rutgers is Big Ten now.
Yeah, no, Virginia, Boston College.
They'll get a smaller share.
And then the other 40% will be split evenly.
So this is the ACC's attempt to keep Florida State, Miami, and Clemson in the conference.
But did you notice Miami never jumped into this?
No, they didn't. It was primarily Florida State and Clemson.
Yep. Miami was just sitting on the outside, letting them do all the heavy lifting.
And really,
and Miami's
why
was
Florida State even considering jumping into another conference?
Especially after the horrendous year they just had?
Yeah.
But the thing is, Miami's going to benefit the most.
Yeah, they will.
Because I'm not just saying this as a Hurricanes fan. I would guarantee that it'd be close between them and Clemson as to who gets the highest TV ratings in that conference.
Yep, those are your two leaders for sure.
All right, baseball. We're still a few weeks away from seriously talking about what's going to happen in Major League Baseball, in our season predictions and all that good fun stuff. The free agent market is pretty much dried up now, for the most part. But
fucking Mets. Oh my, how they are by far and away the biggest spenders in baseball.
Yeah, I know the article you're referring to. I saw it this morning, And I don't know if I buy into those numbers because you've got to look at the numbers for the luxury tax. And the Dodgers by far and away are head and tails above the Mets. But again, because of the deferrals, the article you're referring to, where the Mets are paying most of their salary up front, like you should.
Yeah, instead of kicking the can down the line.
The Mets have been declared the biggest spenders from last year.
Yeah.
Because again,
it's all perception.
The Ohtani money is all deferred. But when it comes to what is going to hit them in terms of luxury tax penalties, the Dodgers by far and away
getting hammered.
Yeah.
You know, there should be a certain threshold where the luxury tax doubles.
I just think we should stick with our plan.
Well, we know they're not going to.
Hard cap, hard floor. Make the smaller teams spend more.
NFL model, baby.
And the players would get more money.
More players would get more money.
You stop the top 3 or 4 teams from overdoing it, but you make the bottom dozen spend a lot more. The players end up getting more money overall.
Yes, which is better for the game. Competitive balance.
But again, Dave and I have to run everything. The president has pardoned Pete Rose. For what? I
don't know, since he wasn't convicted of anything.
Well, tax evasion.
Well, there is that one.
So, posthumously, Pete Rose's record is clean.
Yep. And it's out there. Manfred's considering rescinding the lifetime ban.
Yeah, he's considering reinstatement.
Of course, it's after he's dead.
Yeah, and Pete Rose said that.
He said, when I'm dead, they'll put me in.
Yep, and we see this all the time. We talk about this with the Baseball Hall of Fame. We talk about this with the Football Hall of Fame. We talk about this with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on the weekend edition. Just, it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
It's bad.
Let these people enjoy their moment while they're alive. Whether you hate them, hate their politics, they might have done some things that are questionable, but if they meant that much to the game, and Pete Rose did.
As a player, you cannot keep him out.
No. The Yankees are continuing. The New York injury curse in general, I'm loving this. Of course, last week we talked about Sean Manaea of the Mets. Their de facto, one of their top starters, will start the season on the IL with an oblique. Now, the Yankees, the reigning Rookie of the Year in the American League, Luis Gil, will be shut down for a minimum of 6 weeks with a lat strain. And you know what that means, Dave? That means that Marcus Stroman, that whiny little bitch,
is going to be the opening day starter by default.
Well, no, not opening day.
Well,
he will make it into the starting rotation by default.
Yeah.
Because, of course, he was complaining a month ago when they were saying, you might have to work long relief in the bullpen. Oh, no, I'm a starter. And that's all I'll ever do, and that's all I'll ever be.
Then you can not pitch anywhere.
Man, the Cubs got lucky. They got lucky that they got what they did out of him without a major meltdown from him.
And he opted out.
Yeah. Oof. Speaking of the Cubs, kind of, sort of bad news. I mean, it's not a big deal, but of course they're going to be playing early regular season games coming up in a few weeks over in Japan against the Dodgers. Nico Horner will not be making the trip to Japan with the team, as they say that it'd be better for him to stay behind, keep rehabbing, maybe play some minor league games to be ready for the true opening day at Wrigley. And I'm fine with that.
That's all right.
But again, because they didn't spend any money on a third baseman, that means that you're going to have some crap playing infield.
Yes, it's not going to be good.
Was it? Now Matt Shaw is actually playing. There was a question about him, the young phenom who was supposed to play third base.
Yeah, there's still question, does he have the arm strength to get it across
But
diamond?
At least it looks like he's healthy now.
Yeah, they pretty much said he's another Nick Madrigal with the arm.
Oh, Jesus. I don't need to hear that. I don't
He has
need to hear
to put
that.
max effort into his throws.
Well, I told you, I've been screaming about this for over a month. They should have, not Bregman, they should have gone earlier in the offseason and got a decent third baseman, or maybe not traded away Paredes. But now second base is going to be manned in Japan by either Birdie or Brujan. Yeah, that will strike fear into the hearts of
Nobody?
Well, yeah, the Cubs are going to have to face Yamamoto and Sasaki. And I heard Sasaki made his debut the other day and looked unbelievable.
He was throwing some nasty stuff.
And they got him for like $7 million.
Yeah.
How is that fair? Why don't the players coming over from Japan have to enter into a draft? Why? It's bullshit. They're all going to play on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Cubs got Suzuki and Imanaga to come halfway across the country.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Why aren't they part of a draft?
They should be part of a draft.
And if they don't want to play for the Pirates, then
5.
stay the fuck in Japan. If you don't want to play for the Royals, stay the fuck in Japan. Why do they get to pick and choose where they get to play?
It's ridiculous.
The kids coming out of college don't.
No. They should be subject to the draft like everybody else.
Do you want to tell the kids about the bad news with the White Sox, or should I?
Go for it.
Your best player, Andrew Benintendi, broken hand, will be out 4 to 6 weeks.
He is the biggest fucking disappointment as a signing. I was geeked when they signed him to the deal because I thought, great, we finally get a reliable outfielder with a decent bat. His bat has completely disappeared. Fielding is still decent, but he has been a major, major disappointment.
Well, you don't have to worry about him for the start of the season.
Just more money flushed down the toilet.
All right, let's move on to basketball, shall we? I know how
It's
much
NASCAR season, damn it. We were supposed to start there.
I'm building up the tension for NASCAR. You have to give the kids something to look forward to later on in the show.
We leave the NBA dead last in the crapper near where they belong.
Only a couple things here to discuss. I have a special bonus NBA tidbit for you that you might like. Okay? Sometimes I will put something in here on the show sheet, a little nugget that I know you'll appreciate.
I will have to say I kind of sort of have a pseudo Clint Eastwood badass moment in the NBA. I will give Steve Kerr props for demanding the league start calling travels.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
Even against his own team. He said, I watched the tape. We had 4 or 5 that should have been called. Everybody in the arena knows when there's a travel and wants it called. Put the point of emphasis. Bring the game back.
I just don't like him. I can't.
But to hear a coach actually want it back.
I know.
And we've been railing on the lack of those calls forever.
Well, ever since they put in what the Euro step is what they call it.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm starting to regret talking about the NBA now because I'm looking at the Magic. The Magic are falling apart. 29-34.
Jalen Suggs gone.
Yeah, he came back for 1 game. Now he is out for the season with knee surgery, so the Magic don't have their 3rd best or their 4th best players, both done for the year. In their top two, I don't know what's going on. I look at the numbers. Boncaro and Franz Wagner are putting up great numbers, but something all of a sudden, just the chemistry, because of everybody being out for so long, maybe.
It's gone.
Yeah. So now go into tankathon mode. Go into tankathon mode. What good is it going to do you to squeak into the play? You're acting like the Chicago Bulls. That's what you're doing right now.
Don't fight for the play-in.
No. Just have Boncaro do one of the Rodney Dangerfield Caddyshack moments.
Oh, my arm.
Oh, my arm. I can't play anymore. Just tank it.
Increase your chances in the draft.
I am not above telling my team to go into tankathon mode.
Because where you are now leaves you in basketball hell,
Yep.
where you can't do anything.
Yep. Absolutely. And I guess we have to give kudos to LeBron James.
50,000 points.
Combination, regular season and playoffs.
Yep.
Congratulations, LeBron, you whiny little bitch. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yes,
Sorry.
I think you did. Speaking of whiny little bitches, Kyrie Irving done for the season, torn ACL.
Yeah, the Mavericks are in basketball hell right now.
The Mavericks can't do anything right.
No.
Now they further pissed off their fan base by increasing their season ticket prices for competitive purposes.
Yep. On average, season ticket prices are going up next year for the Mavericks 8.6%. And then the rumors just, keep building steam and gaining momentum that this is all calculated sabotage to move the team to Las Vegas. And I know, you know I am not a fan of Kyrie Irving in the least. But I will say this, he's actually been a fairly good soldier.
He has been...
Since he's been in Dallas.
Yeah, he has played his ass off for him.
Yeah. And everything he said after he went to the free throw line, after he tore his ACL, to hit the free throws, and in the press conference after the game said, I'm proud of myself for doing that, because if I had not made those free throws, I would have been so mad at myself. And I'm like, there's a different Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, that's somebody who finally taking pride in his game.
Yeah. And maybe now he knows he's the leader. Without Luka around, he's the leader. And God help me how the Lakers are playing with Luka now.
Oh my God, he is playing lights out right now.
And they're up to the second seed in the West.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
He was the missing piece for him.
I don't like this at all, Dave. I don't like this at all.
I know. But
the NBA would want nothing more than Celtics Lakers in the finals.
You know that's what they
want. They don't want Oklahoma City and Cleveland,
no.
Even though they're by far the two best teams.
You want the names.
Yep. We will see. We will see if there is a little bit of a conspiracy once we get to the early summer and the playoffs kick in. Now, here's my little nugget, NBA nugget, to close things out that I think you'll appreciate. Okay, so the Knicks got destroyed last night by the Golden State Warriors. Warriors, of course, on a roll now with Jimmy Butler. We'll talk more about him at the end of the show. But the Warriors now, they've got traction. They've got momentum. So they beat up on the Knicks. There happen to be some celebrities sitting courtside, of course.
Of course. They're the only ones who can afford those tickets.
And there was a stray ball that, player went after. And the cameras show the ball, the player basically almost hit one Jennifer Hudson in the face. She was sitting with Common.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were an item. So that was interesting. Common, of course. Hell on Wheels. We love him.
Yep.
And, of course, he tried to shield her from the ball and I guess inadvertently hit her in the head with his elbow. And this is not even the part I'm going to here. This is just the ancillary fun.
This was a comedy of errors, kids.
And she did not look happy. And it looked like she was mad because she thought her glasses got broken. She was not happy. But then they happen to pan a little bit to the left. Her right, our left. Sitting next to her courtside with, I guess, her date, her boyfriend, her husband, one Alexandra Daddario.
She pretty.
And then the show I'm watching, of course, Boomer and Geo jumps in and says, "Hey, did you guys ever see True Detective?" And of course, we had this conversation about a month ago.
Yes.
Where I had not seen that. I watched season 1, but it was years ago.
Yeah.
And you guys, when I mentioned how gorgeous she was on The White Lotus, you guys said, well, she was in True Detective season 1.
She was phenomenal.
And that's what Gio was saying. Gio was talking about how he watched that with his wife. And he was like, oh, she's going to kill me because this is the most beautiful, gorgeous, perfect woman in the world, and I can't take my eyes off the TV screen. And so then he's looking at this footage from last night's game, and he's like, all these memories come flooding back.
Her bending, oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, I had to Google it, so now I know the exact episode. I'm going to have to pull out my True Detective. Sorry about the pause. I'm pulling out
my... Oh, is that what you've named it now?
Yeah, because it's always searching, but it never can quite solve the mystery. But yeah, I can pull out my True Detective Season 1 DVD now and know exactly what episode to go to. Oh, my God. And just the clips that popped up on Google of what was to come, I could tell. Yeah. What was to come. That would be the maestro. Oh, my Lord. I am not kidding you, people. One of the most beautiful women in the freaking world.
Yep.
College basketball, real quick. Not much to discuss. However, number 1, Auburn lost last night.
They got it handed to them. They did not lead at all.
Number 22, Texas A&M. Again, that SEC schedule is a gauntlet this year.
Yep.
So we'll see, will Duke ascend to number 1?
We'll have to wait.
See, here's the thing. I know we've got our March Madness competition coming up, so we don't want to give too much away. But number 1, I never trust Duke.
No.
And number 2, there's nobody else worth shit in the ACC, whereas all these SEC teams are beating up on each other because they're all freaking good.
Yeah. So there you go.
So there's a little bit of deception here in the polls, with Duke being so high. Just look at the competition.
There's nobody else there.
Yeah, let's talk about the competition.
Miami.
The two teams that we follow, yes. Notre Dame 12-17. Miami 6-24, but it's official now. We have poached Jay Lucas, Duke assistant coach. It is now affirmed, official as of a few hours ago. He will be the new head coach for the Miami Hurricanes.
All right.
I am very, very excited about that. Do you want to talk about the Blackhawks?
The end of the Scotty Bowman era is officially here. The last player remaining that was on the Blackhawks that he signed, Seth Jones, defenseman, has been traded to the Florida Panthers. The Hawks sent Seth Jones in a 2026 fourth-round pick to the Panthers for goalie Spencer Knight and a conditional first-round 2026 pick. So...
And didn't Spencer Knight come out right out of the gates and have a phenomenal game?
Yes, 41 save win.
Yep.
So, yeah, Hawks 2 games in a row that they've won. And as the text thread with you, Jamie, and I had mentioned, Seth Jones had been the biggest disappointment for the Blackhawks. He was not a great defenseman for them, overpaid. That's finally off the books. Hawks are in great shape with the salary cap now going forward. With the upcoming draft, things are starting to look up. They've got some money now to put some pieces together. So, better days should be ahead.
Blackhawks are currently 19-35-7, if I do my math correctly.
45 points.
There you go.
Still a couple ahead of the Sharks.
Then, of course, big injury for the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk, groin injury. Ugh. Yeah,
Yep.
you don't want
one of the big reasons why they traded for Seth Jones.
Yep. And of course, this injury goes back to the Four Nations face-off. He will be out for the regular season. They're hoping to get him back,
maybe,
for the playoffs. And of course, with a groin injury, I will just not mention Alexandre Daddario again.
All right, he's had the build up to it now. Now we get to finally hit NASCAR here on Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known as, of course, iHeart Radio. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page.
Drop us a line from wherever you're listening. Please.
You can put comments on the Facebook page or, of course, directly on the platform of your choice, wherever you listen to us. Again, Facebook, we will have every Thursday night, all of our NASCAR picks will be posted. We're getting close to the point where we'll have March Madness. Now, we're not posting all of our brackets.
No, that's just craziness.
But then we have baseball coming up at the end of March. Then you will get our weekly baseball picks as well. So, yes, I have kept Dave in suspense long enough. I didn't realize he was so crazy giddy about doing NASCAR. I like to leave stuff towards the end for the kids to stick around for.
But you lied to the kids.
I didn't lie. How'd I lie to the kids?
Way back when, we're like, all right, it's NASCAR now. We'll be leading off with them.
NFL free agency is always going to take... So when the draft happens, do I have to do NASCAR first?
Of course it's going to be the draft.
Then see, there are exceptions. There are exceptions
but
to
NBA
every rule.
should never trump NASCAR.
But sometimes you put a little bit... That's why people have a salad after the appetizer but before the main course. Nobody wants the salad. Nobody likes the salad, Dave. The NBA is the salad.
No great story ever started with somebody eating a salad.
The rancid, wilted salad. Okay? The NFL is, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, okay?
Fine, whatever.
All right. 3 races into the 2025 Cup season. I am extremely impressed. We've had 3 really good races. So, I thought COTA was pretty good.
COTA was actually fairly decent.
The shorter configuration.
It's middle of the race got kind of, but the end was phenomenal.
Yep. Tyler Reddick, our pick, got the pole. So, of course, I was happy about that. But he never really seemed to have a car that could win the race.
No, he's lucky to have gotten back to the finish he did.
Yeah, he finished 3rd. That was probably the best car he had was at the end.
Yeah.
But he didn't have enough time to catch the leaders. Christopher Bell goes back to back. And that is not easy to do in NASCAR this day and age.
No. Used to get guys who could rattle off 3 or 4 in a row. But those days are gone. This back-to-back with this car is impressive.
Yep. And then, of course, you had Ross Chastain, first lap, first turn,
Oops.
knocking out Chase Elliott, who made a great rebound, great comeback, finishing in the top 5.
Kyle Busch just burned his right rear tire off trying to stay in the lead.
It looked like he was going to break his winless streak.
That was his best showing, and he had a pretty dominant car for a while.
He did. And the road course ringers, interesting finish for them. Now, Connor Zilic was Mrs. C's pick.
Yep.
Was running fairly well until he got caught up in Daniel Suarez's shit. He's not the first. He won't be the last.
Nope.
So that poor kid, unfortunately, finished at the tail end with a DNF. I don't know what happened to A.J. Allmendinger. He got as high as 3rd, and then his car, I again, don't know what happened, but he plummeted. He plummeted. Was a non-factor, and then I was worried that SVG was going to, early on, look like he could dominate.
Yeah, he had a good car early, but then he faded.
Yep. But he still got a top 10 out of it, I believe. So I would have been really mad, selfishly, if he'd won. Because I would have been like, God damn it, I should have taken him. He showed me something, but still, is it enough?
There's still something missing.
There's a learning curve, though. He's still got the learning curve.
Yeah, the way this car handles.
He's running all the different tracks this year, first year, full time. But yeah, Dinger disappointed me. I thought he was going to challenge for the win, and then he just
disappeared.
Unbelievable. And then I didn't even see this because, of course, once, Bell took the checkered, I kind of jumped out. And we'll have a story about that on the weekend edition of what my Sunday evening entailed.
You subjected yourself to it, didn't you?
No, I did not, but it's tied into that. It is, let's put it this way. It was still a bad experience for me, but it was not that bad experience. Okay.
That's a cliffhanger, kid.
Yes. Yes, of course. Some of the things we'll be discussing on the weekend edition. We've got a ton of songs to discuss. Catch you up on the latest with Reacher, The White Lotus, Tracker. Dave is going to finally review The Substance.
Yep.
And I'm going to save my mystery review for... You guys got to listen to the weekend edition. Because, again, I've got a story. I have a story.
There's always a story.
There's always a story. All right. I did not see this. Again, at the end of the race, Brad Keselowski getting taken out on a stretcher.
Yep, I guess he was dehydrated.
His cool suit failed.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
But he's okay. Everything's good. And he actually, it led me to see that he had some funny... 2 new funny commercials for Consumer Cellular that he's in. So I had to watch those on YouTube. But, when they were talking about him and his brief health issue, they mentioned those. So I had to watch those. Very funny.
Nice.
So now, of course, we've got the Shriners Children's 500 coming up.
Yep, but we had a couple penalties that came out of COTA.
Oh, I did not hear penalties.
Yes.
Ooh,
so Kyle Larson's Jackman and front tire changer suspended 2 races because of
the tire. Yeah, you knew that was coming. Yeah, when he lost the tire.
Yep, and then Austin Cindric penalized 50 driver points and fined $50,000 for his deliberate wreck of Ty Dillon.
Wow, that I did not hear.
The only reason he wasn't suspended for a race himself was because it was on the road course and it was at a lower speed than what they hit Bubba Wallace with and the previous penalties.
Now, I know NASCAR has got to enforce these rules and they have got to penalize these guys, but I'm telling you. You said 50 driver points for Cindric? They
took
have
him
buried,
from 11th to 34th in the points.
They have buried 3 races in Cindric and Briscoe.
Yep.
Boy, they're going to have to win races. That's the only way they're getting in.
Yeah.
There is no way they're going to be able to overcome these penalties. I'm sorry. Unless they win races.
Yep. But they had to put the penalties in if they want to get their attention.
I know. That's why I'm saying it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
No, but I'm glad you caught that. I did not know. I figured the Larson penalty was coming.
Yeah.
But I did not hear about the Austin Cindric penalty. Good catch. This is why this is a team effort.
It is.
And it's not, we have to run everything. Not just Dave or I. We have to run
it all.
And then, before we give you our picks for the Phoenix race, we have to acknowledge the fact that running at the Phoenix race for Live Fast Motorsports, Catherine Legge, number 78, will be the first woman running a cup race since Danica Patrick.
Yep, she comes over from England, and she's run all sorts of different series.
She's run the Indianapolis 500. She ran Pikes Peak. She's run the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yeah, she's got sports car wins under her belt. She's run not quite half a dozen Xfinity races. So, good for her.
Can I just say something? Why is it now, over the last, let's say, 20 years, I remember Janet Guthrie, okay? Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I remember Janet Guthrie. Why is it over the last 20 years, all of a sudden, all these female race car drivers are all hot? They're all hot. There is no Janet Guthrie anymore. Janet Guthrie looked like she should have been in a kitchen baking cookies for kindergartners. And now they're all supermodels. Of course, we will not mention
your favorite.
My beautiful, my wonderful.
Future ex-Mrs. Crane.
Yes. Now I'm wondering, when is Alexandra Daddario going to get a race car?
Frankie Munoz made the jump from acting to racing.
Yeah. Yes, of course, we're talking about, oh God, what's her name? My beautiful...
Hailie Deegan.
Yes, Hailie Deegan. Sorry, I've got Daddario on the brain right now. The minute we're done with the podcast and you leave, I'm putting in True Detective.
Of course you are.
Oh, my Lord. So I guess we should do our picks.
Yep, it's that time.
Our picks for the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix, and for the 3rd week in a row.
The old guard.
Dave and I and Sam, the 3 oldest when it comes to seniority, going all the way back to the cable access days in the early 90s. For the 3rd week in a row, we have picked the same driver.
We are going with William Byron. He always has a good start to the season. He's got that win at Daytona under his belt, solid run at Coda, backing it up here.
Yep, you're right. He will always start. It seems like his pattern is he always starts the season off very strong, jumps out to a big lead, gets a couple wins, and then settles in after about 10 or 12 races. I was looking at Christopher Bell until he won back-to-back. It's asking a lot to go 3, do the three-peat.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you, Riley! I'm not paying you to say that! Come get me! Three-peat, 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 three-peat!
But you know who thinks there'll be a three-peat? Mrs. C is taking Christopher Bell.
I don't hate the pick.
No,
I don't hate
it's not a bad pick. She needs points, too. Yeah. Even though she's got the win.
Yeah, she's locked in with the win.
She's locked in with the win now.
But the Zillage pick.
That hurt.
That was 1 point.
Yeah.
That killed her. Bill and Nick are taking Ryan Blaney.
Not a bad pick. Thought about it.
Doug is taking Tyler Reddick.
Another one that I almost went with.
And Aaron is taking Kyle Larson.
Not at Phoenix.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week. I'll be shocked if we don't have at least 5 or 6 Kyle Larson picks for Vegas next week.
Maybe you got a preview, kids.
little bit of insider information there for you. And if I thought that any of our panelists actually listen to this goddamn podcast, we wouldn't give up this information. But we know goddamn well they're not. So that's how much they love us. They're benevolent dictators.
That's right.
Ungrateful pieces of
wretches.
All right, now you did your Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week, so
now it's your turn.
I have two. One again. Believe this will be 2 weeks in a row. Yes. Shocking the world with one of my Clint Eastwood badasses. Somebody who I despise with a passion. Last week it was Elizabeth Warren. This week it is one Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino becomes the first coach in Division I history in the regular season to win a conference title with 5 different programs.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Yep.
Even though we can't stand the bastard.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, go out and celebrate. Bend a waitress over a table, impregnate her, and then pay her off. Go for it, buddy. You deserve it.
Not.
That is sarcasm, kids, okay?
Big time.
That is the main reason I hate the bastard with a passion. Now, my other badass of the week, some people, especially those down in the southern states, might not think this is as big of a badass move as I do, but Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel's pretty big-time golfer.
Yeah.
You know? Last week's tournament, Billy Horschel had to come to the aid of a police officer as there was an alligator on the course. Billy Horschel, fearless, having lived among the gators. Well, that makes it sound like he's Tarzan of the gators or something.
He's not one of the swamp people.
Yeah. No, he doesn't live on a fan boat.
He's not swamp people.
No, but he took out his wedge, started poking at the alligator, steered it back into the water. And I'm like, dude, I would never have done that. No way in holy hell would I have done that. So,
kudos to him.
Billy Horschel is my other Clint Eastwood badass of the week. Now, in other random sports news, Notre Dame men's swimming. This was a big scandal here recently.
Oh, their internal betting
Their
pool.
Gambling scandal. Notre Dame men's swimming will be reinstated for the 2025-2026 season. So whatever fixes they made,
their little betting amongst themselves.
It seems like the powers that be are okay with now moving on.
Well, all those perpetrators are now with other programs.
Yeah, didn't one or two of them transfer to Texas, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, if they weren't going to be able to swim for Notre Dame, they went elsewhere.
Yeah.
So break up that cadre.
Kudos to George Mason. Now, George Mason, really the only time I think we've really talked about them in the past is their success in the NCAA basketball tournament.
Yep.
But now we're going to talk about them in terms of NCAA baseball, as they set a record yesterday. Again, we're taping on March the 5th. This would have been Tuesday the 4th. As they scored 23 runs in one inning.
Whew.
Against Holy Cross. More impressive, did it without hitting a triple or a home run.
Singles and doubles, baby.
A lot of walks, a lot of
singles,
I think
and
5
doubles.
hit by pitches.
Ooh, God. Oof.
Now, I'm sure they let up on Holy Cross because the final score was 26-6. But still.
That's a good time to get your bench players in.
And I'm sure that's what they did. Yeah. That's why it didn't turn out to be an even bigger massacre.
Yeah.
But once again, kudos to George Mason for setting an NCAA
very
record.
Cool.
for 23 runs in 1 inning. And finally, let's talk about Nickelback. What? It's not the weekend edition. Have I lost my mind? Don't answer that, Dave. Yes, Nickelback. One of the most underrated bands. Yes, I am a Nickelback lover. Dave won't admit it, but he is too.
I like Nickelback.
Nickelback.
Everybody bags on Nickelback.
Without due cause.
Yes.
There is no reason to. Anybody who bags on Nickelback is a music snob, in my humble opinion.
And trust us, we
Jamie!
know we know music snobs because we are music snobs.
Nickelback will be performing August the 3rd at the Pro Football Hall of Fame Concert for Legends. How about that?
That's pretty cool.
So you get down there for the Hall of Fame weekend, you get to see some Nickelback too.
Wow, Jay-Z doesn't have control over that? Like
Yeah.
he does everything else with the NFL?
Yeah, exactly. Finally, we get some rock and roll going here in the NFL. Maybe you should take note, Mr. Goodell. All right, move on to moments of silence. We have one, and it is unfortunately extremely tragic and local for us. Mason Alexander. Believe he was a freshman cornerback for Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Panthers. But he went to high school, just a few hours away from us in an area that we are very familiar with, Fishers, Indiana.
Yep.
Unfortunately, was recently in a car accident and died at the ridiculously young age of 18 years old.
Tragic.
So thoughts and prayers to
His family and friends.
high school teammates, college teammates, everybody involved here. Just awful. Just a terrible story. But you know what this means, kids.
Means we have to pivot.
Now, of course, Dave, at the top of the podcast, had to give me a hard time because I've had a bad week, and he knows what I can do, what I'm capable of when I pick angry.
Yeah, he usually overdoes it. Either in picking football games to pick during the season,
That's where
or
I'm really bad.
overcompensating on the dumbasses.
Didn't do it this week. I restrained myself. Your little stupid voice is always in my head.
Don't do it.
Now with the football picks,
do it.
I will pick the football picks I want to pick. And if I pick 35 games for 1 week, God damn it, we're picking 35 games.
But I'm going to initiate the rule that you only have to pick the top 25.
The nuclear option. But when I start doing the dumbasses, I hear your little voice in the back of my head.
Don't do it.
So we have. The problem is one of them's a combo. So technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, but really only 6. Okay?
All right.
So let's start off with the combo. Because Dave and I, before we started recording tonight, went off on a little rant about some things that were happening in the world and in our personal lives, and the stupidity of people and how they can't do their jobs right.
This falls under the you had one fucking job.
I understand if you're texting your friends and autocorrect, the spell check takes over, and you accidentally hit send and you didn't catch the fact that spell check changed one of your words to something you didn't want it to be. I get it. But that's between friends. When your job is to post a story online or to send out a daily email newsletter, you need to double check your work. And I'm so tired of these people that don't.
Is this the Yahoo Sports newsletter again?
Yeah. Twice. Twice.
Twice?
Twice.
Oof.
Now, one time, here's the thing. One is for an egregiously stupid spell check mistake. The other is for another thing that drives me crazy. The use of language that we would never, ever, ever fucking use in real life.
Oh, so AI wrote the article.
Could be. So let's do the mistake first. We were just talking recently, when we were talking about college basketball, about Duke. We were talking about the fact that they'll probably be maybe the number one team.
Potentially.
We'll see. Does Auburn still have enough strength after a loss to keep that number one spot? But now Duke just played what's probably going to be their last home game here a few days ago. Of course, Cooper Flagg, looking to be the number one pick in the NBA draft next year. Hey, Dave, where does Duke play? Do you remember where Duke plays?
Camden Arena?
Close. Cameron Indoor.
Or Cameron Indoor, yes, sorry. I hate Duke, so I really don't care.
I know, but bear with me here. Where's Cameroon?
Oh my God.
Isn't that a country in Africa?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the Yahoo...
Cameroon Arena?
Cameroon Indoor was the site of what could have been Cooper Flagg's last home game as a collegiate athlete. Cameroon Indoor.
Cameroon Indoor.
Yeah.
Oof, that's bad.
Again, don't rush these things out. Take an extra 5 minutes and double check it. Now, Yahoo's Dan Devine. No, not that Dan Devine. Long gone, great coach for Notre Dame. This moron, responsible, intelligent sports journalist, was talking about in a story in the daily newsletter. I swear to God, if it wasn't for the fact they have some really good trivia in there every day,
you would give it up.
Because they're such snowflakes. They are such snowflakes. You can tell they're literally whacking off on their keyboards as they're typing about soccer, because they love soccer and women's sports so much. I mean, it's ridiculous. But Yahoo's Dan Devine was writing a little blurb in this newsletter about a player for the Atlanta Hawks who is doing amazing things, believe it or not, on the defensive side of the court. Steals, very, very good defender.
Nice. It's a dying thing in the NBA.
Now, I'm going to paraphrase the part of this until I get to the word. And I guarantee you'll probably know this word. But there's no way in holy hell we would ever use this word in normal, everyday conversation. But he's talking about this guy and says he's so good that he will be, yards away from the play. And then the next thing you know, he will apparate.
Oh my God. Somebody got a thesaurus for his birthday.
And of course, I Googled apparate, and part of a big chunk of the returns I got on the search said this is a word that is now dead and is not used anymore. But you know what else I got? Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's a Harry Potter word. And this doofus is using a Harry Potter word discussing the NBA.
Yep. Oh, he apparates from one position on the floor to the other.
Yeah. Nobody uses the fucking word!
No, nobody.
Like you said, is it AI? I don't think AI would use the word, though.
I don't think they would.
Outside of Harry Potter.
No.
It doesn't show up anywhere. Like I said, some of the references...
Somebody's a geek.
Yeah. Like I said, there were multiple references to this is a dead word that is no longer used. All right. remember the song Stacy's Mom?
Yeah, she's got it going on.
Let's change the lyrics, shall we? We had Stacy's mom has got it going on. How about we change it to Johnny's mom has got a bender going on?
Oh!
Michelle Manziel. Yes, that would be Johnny's mom, Johnny Manziel, who, of course, basically threw his NFL career away, partying it up and drinking to excess.
Well, now we know where he gets it.
Yes, because his mommy, Michelle Manziel, this past week, arrested in Texas for DWI. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, y'all.
No, it does not.
We alluded to this one earlier, as we are wont to do. We always drop a little bit of a foreshadowing nugget here and there throughout the episode. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets.
Oh, Jimmy.
Now, of course, living the good life with the Golden State Warriors. They're on a roll. They're looking like they're going to make the playoffs and be a tough out.
Jimmy's going to need that playoff check.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This is a guy that I used to love and respect. And over the last handful of years,
He's become a complete doofus.
of course, we know he was playing for the Miami Heat. Looks like he was renting out a luxury house down in South Florida. Oh, but he didn't pay the last few months of rent, and he basically trashed the place.
Of course he did.
So Jimmy Butler is being sued for unpaid rent in the amount of $260,000 and damages in the amount of $127,000 from the people that rented him this luxury house in South Florida.
Idiot.
And I'll tell you what, they sound like they're cool people because I read the story and they really don't want much more than just pay the rent, pay the damages.
Oh, we're not taking you to the cleaners like we could. We just want what you owe us straight up.
We're not doing this for publicity. Just pay us what you owe us.
Yeah.
You remember we had a story here recently, last week before, I think it was last week. This is one of my new least favorite human beings on the face of the earth. Former NFL punter Chris Kluwe, who got kicked out of a Huntington Beach City Council meeting for his, peaceful demonstration?
Peaceful protest.
Civil disobedience. There you go.
That's it. You're not Gandhi, Kluwe.
Well, he was working as a special teams coach for a high school in Huntington Beach, in the area. And guess what? They fired his ass because of his behavior, because he was garnering too much negative publicity for the school. And of course, this jackass has to come out and say, well, good luck finding another NFL player who will come in and coach your kids.
Well, were you
really? A punter, and you were coaching special teams. You weren't the head coach.
And you really didn't have that much of an NFL career anyway.
Now, I decided this week I would reinstitute something I have been lax on.
Verifying their...
Yes. I will say this.
How many years did he punt?
I don't think he was a terrible punter. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame punter. You know, he was a solid punter, but he's a whack job liberal fucktard. But I will give him credit for this, as I am coming back around to examining some of these people and what kind of educational background they have. I will give him credit for this. He did graduate from UCLA with a double major in political science and history.
All right.
So, at least I will give him credit that he can speak on politics with some level of intelligence and knowledge. But of course, he's one of these people spouting off about our president is a Nazi, blah, 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 blah. This is exactly what the Nazis did, blah, 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 blah. But at least he's got the education to back it up.
History and...
But he's still a dumbass.
He's still a dumbass.
All right, LeBron James. Oh my God, is he going to... He's making an appearance. When asked here within the last week or so about whether or not... Now I'm paraphrasing the reporter's question, and I'll paraphrase the response. But reporter basically asked him, are you comfortable being the face of the league? Do you really want to be the face of the NBA?
Oh my God.
And LeBron's response, why would I want to be the face of this league when there are so many people out there in the media and in the world in general who just shit all over us? And once again, he proves to be a little whiny bitch. And not worthy of sniffing Michael Jordan's jockstrap. I don't care if he's got 50,000 points. He's a whiny little bitch who will never get it. He couldn't say something like, I don't think I'm the face of the league. There are a lot of great young players here. There are a lot of great veteran players. And together, we all collectively make this league what it is. I could do that off the cuff. And I'm not even a basketball player. But he doesn't have the intelligence or the smarts.
This is why most people despise the NBA and the players.
I'm telling you, they're goosing the numbers. I don't think anybody gives two shits about the NBA right now. I don't.
No.
And that's why we posed the conspiracy theory earlier that they're going to do their damnedest to make it the Lakers and the Celtics, because if they get the Thunder and the Cavaliers, I'll watch it, because I think it'll be a good basketball, it'll showdown.
Be a good series.
But they don't. The ratings will be catastrophically bad because it's two small market teams,
and they'll manipulate them to be bad.
Then finally, locally, our final dumbass, just a little ways away from us, outside the Sports Frenzy studios, the Benton Harbor basketball team. Video is out there, disgusting, disturbing, where Benton Harbor's basketball team, including one of their assistant coaches who has now been fired, threw balls and water bottles, and this is some of the people in the crowd as well, at one of the referees once the game concluded.
That is unacceptable.
Yeah, so
that's criminal. That is assault.
Yep, and the video's out there, and it's really awful and really horrible. Now, the guy got hit in the head with the ball, and that was one of the students, from what I could tell. And they, of course, won't discuss disciplining him because of regulations, and,
Bullshit.
He's a juvenile. But, yeah, the assistant coach who threw a water bottle at him, he has been canned. But again, terrible behavior. Terrible, because they were mad about the foul discrepancy in the game.
Boo-hoo. It happens. Act with some civil pride. Be human.
Be human would be where I would go, yeah.
Be human. Don't...
So, your rundown, your final list of nominees to consider. Couple instances from Yahoo's Daily Sports Letter. Cameroon Indoor and Apparate. Johnny's mom has got it going on in terms of a bender. Michelle Manziel. Jimmy Buckets not being able to take care of the nice things in his life. Fucktard former NFL punter Chris Cluey getting fired after his stupid little debacle, his civil disobedience display. LeBron James, I don't want to be the face of the league because all you do is shit on us. And the Benton Harbor boys basketball team. Their coaches, their fans, their players.
It's disgusting on every level. But them and Cluey, they're a little localized.
Local drama.
LeBron, he just shits all over himself regularly. I gotta go with Jimmy Buckets. Just bad form all around the way he's behaved this season.
I gotta go with Michelle Manziel. I mean, good Lord, the woman has not learned a single thing.
And we also don't know how many times has this happened.
Yeah, I know. And it's obvious there's some kind of level of entitlement to her. Where she thinks, well,
I'm in Texas.
Yeah, I'm rich. My husband's rich. My son was a big shot football player, even though he pissed his career away. Unfortunately, he did play for Cleveland. Away. And what was it that Kirby Smart said about him?
Yeah.
King of Fireball. Yeah. But no, parents have to set an example. I'm sorry. There's a responsibility there. Even when your children are grown up, you've got to show some maturity. I cannot stand these real housewives of Atlanta or Texas or Hollywood.
It's all bullshit.
So, what kind of plastic surgery did you get today, Buffy?
I had my tits redone for the 4th time, and I got calf implants.
Yes, and I'm recommending my daughter gets them as well.
Wrong answer.
All right, so let us know who you would select among that stellar group. Once again, Dave takes Jimmy Butler, and I take Johnny Manziel's mom, Michelle Manziel. And that is going to do it for Sports Frenzy 2.0 this week, your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary show. But fear not!
We're back Saturday morning with your hangover cure, your favorite politically incorrect pop culture commentary.
And of course, we'll be back doing this again in 7 days. And it will be a magnificent show. We will not start with NASCAR, Dave, because we will have tons of free agent news.
So there we go.
To discuss. Hopefully
acceptable.
Hopefully some more good news, great news for the Bears. I'm hoping the Buccaneers find some money, bring back Chris Godwin. The Dolphins,
they restructured Chubb's deal on defense, so that opened up a little room for them. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, kind of odd that, the Bears were very active here, with 7 days to go, whereas the Buccaneers and the Dolphins, just crickets from both those teams. So we'll see. Again, hopefully by the time we get to next Wednesday, the official league calendar, the new year opens up.
Because everybody's wheeling and dealing unofficially, and then once Monday hits with the legal tampering, then everything will start popping out. And
see, now you got me thinking of Alexandra Daddario again.
Things popping out.
I don't know if it's for her or for me.
Pop out, pop up.
We hope you enjoyed it. We always enjoy it. Thanks again to Vietnam and Germany.
Our two hotbeds of listeners.
Of course, we love everybody, everywhere. We love America. God bless America. And again, Dave and I will be doing this here in a few minutes. which you will hear on Saturday morning with the weekend edition. It will be fun beyond all belief, as it always is, because those stupid celebrities always find ways to amuse us.
We told you before they were waiting until the Oscars.
Oh, yeah. We got some,
and boom, baby.
we got some fun.
They came back with a vengeance.
We got some fun Oscar discussions. Yep. Fun stuff. Again, Saturday morning hangover cure. Sports in 7 days. But until then, say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.